and let's talk about this. I jokingly call it Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, but well, we're going to talk about this belt sander here. This is a stationary belt sander that I bought in the late 1990s, very, 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 very early 2000s. And when I say late 1990s, I mean like 99. Probably not long after I bought my house and I established my first workshop in the basement of my old house, before I had this glorious shithole that I have now. So this thing's actually served me really, really, really well. I got plenty of complaints with it. It's a pain in the ass to get it to track sometimes, but that's all belt sanders. It's supposed to have a 5-inch, or it's supposed to have a sanding disc on this side, which is obviously not here because it was missing when I bought it. Well, it wasn't missing, it was damaged. So this is like a no-name, no-brand sander. No-name, no-brand sander. Literally from the very early days of I bought this at a Homier tool sale. If you're old enough to remember Homier tool sales, then you probably just got an AARP card in the mail. So one of the things with this sander is, it's always been a problem with it, is it doesn't have any form of dust collection. Nothing. It was always had zero dust collection. It just flung shit everywhere. You know, that's why I think I paid like $75 for this. I don't even think I paid that much. And all the years I've owned it, the only thing I've ever had to do with it was I bolted this base on here. I bolted it on this piece of MDF. Probably, actually, this not too long ago. I bolted this together. You know, I put this together with the bolts in it. So, I mean, it does everything that a belt sander is supposed to do. This one is locked down with, I think, 2 bolts. To get it to rotate, it's a pain in the ass. So I never rotated. I never operated vertically. It's always been a horizontal thing. The only other problem with this sander is and this is why I took it out of regular use, is because this plate is terrible. I tried flipping the paper over, and this is a trick that you can do to true your face up. You flip the sandpaper. You flip the sandpaper inside out. You flip the sandpaper inside out, and then you take something hard and flat, like a piece of granite or something, and you just run it on here until it becomes flat where you want it to. It didn't really work all that great, and that wasn't really the fault of the sander as much as it was the fault of the guy that was trying to get it to do that. I'd seen somebody do it before. Actually, it was suggested for me to do that, and it just didn't work out all that great. So what I ended up doing was I cut a hole in here, right? So when I'm sanding, if I want, if I need to, or if I want to get a softer edge, I can just push it down on here. And it actually works really well. This piece of paper isn't damaged enough yet to work perfectly, but you can see here it gets, that's really way more than you even need. But it does, you know, yeah, it does exactly what I want it to do. A lot of sanders you'll see with a three-point pivot where this piece here just kind of flops around. Those are like crazy expensive, so we're gonna stick with old Chitty Chitty Bang Bang here. So, what did I do? Well, I was pretty proud of this. So I built a dust shroud for it. I'm really proud of myself. This is probably the most intricate thing that I've designed in Tinkercad so far. What I did was took this is this file that I made, and I cut that out. I copied that from another. I copied this file from this file. I copied this file and I pasted it into a new work plane, and I measured this radius, which is this is about 3 inches from here to here, and then I increased the radius so it would fit around this, right? Now you have to remember this is two things. One is it's a working prototype, and the other is if it works then it's no longer a prototype, right? It works just fine. And then I decided that I was going to print it in 2 pieces for a couple reasons. The biggest reason is, well, I can't do math in my head, right? This is no secret. As a matter of fact, it's kind of like an on-running joke. I decided that I was going to use an existing mounting point on the sander. So this is if I was to put this thing in its vertical position, this is a stop for the vertical, this is supposed to have a tool rest that I haven't seen in probably 10-15 years. Now this is one of those prototype before you print, right? So I measured this at 7/16 of an inch. It's metric, but it was really, really close to 7/16 of an inch. So I went to print it out. Well, I started to print it. Here it is. So I started to print it, and I made this. Actually, this was a failed print. So this is half of the failed print. The other half of it's here somewhere. I ran out of filament halfway through, and it's a good thing I did, because I screwed up 2 different things on this when I was printing it. So joke is, I can't do math in my head, and I'm dyslexic, so everything I do backwards. Every single time when I'm doing a project like this, I design it backwards, and then I have to figure out how to mirror image it and flip it back the other way. It's been the bane of my maker existence for my entire career, or the bane of my fabrication. I hate the word maker. It's very, very bougie. I don't know, bougie's not the word for it. I don't know what it is, but I don't like to use that word. My tinkering career, I've always had problems with that, along with problems with clearances. Clarence. Don't call me Shirley. So this hole was spec'd over. That hole is spec'd over size. This hole was spec'd over size, and it doesn't fit. Right? Shocking, huh? So I did a little bit of research on PLA, and apparently, of all the products, PLA apparently shrinks the least, but it did shrink just enough to make this not want to fit. And just out of curiosity here. So the shaft is .468. The hole was spec'd. The hole was spec'd at .49 or .5 or .4 or .45. Well, the hole is .431. Whoopsie. So that caused the problem. Thank God the print failed before it printed the whole thing, because I'd have been really pissed if it had. The other thing was that, well, I'm a dipshit, and I designed it backwards. So this is supposed to be this side. Oh. So this is supposed to be this side. That's how it goes on, right? Well, when I printed it this way. So when I designed it, I designed it this way. So real quick and dirty last night, after having way too many Captain Morgans, I came home, jumped back on the machine, and changed the file, and I flipped the whole thing 180 degrees, and then added this extra piece on here. So this was only supposed to have one side of the scoop was only supposed to be on one side, and now it's on both sides, which is actually fine. The other thing I screwed up was, again, Captain Morgan helped with this. This is way thick, and you can see here it's sanded. You can see here it's sanded down a little bit, and I kind of did that on purpose. I'd be lying if I said I didn't expect to have to do some of that. So that fits on there just like that, and I printed it in 2 pieces. Well, I printed it in 2 pieces for a couple reasons. The biggest reason being is I wanted to be able to adjust it. I wanted to be able to adjust it for mounting purposes. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece of either 3/8 drill rod, or I could probably even use 1/2 inch drill rod, because this hole is over 1/2 of an inch. Actually, no, it's not. It's actually under half an inch. It was spec'd at half an inch, but again, shrinkage, right? Shrinkage, Jerry, shrinkage. It's actually spec'd out at .495, which is about exactly what the shrinkage rate .478 actually. If you give it a little 482, and these are cheap calipers, and that's plastic. And I also printed this at like 5% infill because I wanted to see what would happen. But honestly, I'm really happy with it, so I'm probably not going to reprint it. Now, how am I going to put these together? Well, not for nothing, I'm going to fucking glue it. Let me pick my other piece up. I'm not going to reprint this stuff because, as far as I'm concerned, A, this is a prototype, and B, I'd rather just keep running until it breaks. I don't want to wait. It's not even a matter of wasting filament, it's just a matter of letting it run till it breaks. So, this can articulate a little bit. This is why I did this, right? So I could adjust this, right? So when I put it on here, like I said, I'm going to get a piece of drill rod. Right now, this was my practice piece, but I'm going to get a piece of drill rod. So this slides on here like this. Now imagine, if you will, a piece of drill rod going all the way through and nutting and bolted together. And then this goes on like this. Just like that, right? Yeah, just like that. Now it does need a little bit of, it's going to need a little bit of fiddling, but one of the nice things is I can glue this together now, right? So I could physically bolt it together, but don't really need to do that, I don't think. EU 6000 is my friend. The other thing I need to do is two things. I didn't take the thickness of this into account. I thought I thinned it out to take into the account of this one, and I just left it, and then what I really needed to do was shift this whole thing over 1/4 of an inch. So what did I do? Well, I just took the sander and went and made it fit, right? I'm not selling this crap. This is for me. This is all prototypes for me. So that's going to slide on there like that. That's going to come up like this. And then, like I said, that's going to get it. This is going to have a piece of drill rod that goes all the way through it and tightens it up, right? Like the zip. And as my buddy says, Bob's your uncle. This connection here, I may put a bolt through it, but I don't think so. Again, I think hot glue is going to be my friend. And then I'm going to put all the magnets on in here. And then, that's it. I mean, it's really not, wasn't all that difficult. Other than, just, the foibles of Bush League shit. But it fits real nice here. So this fits real nice in here. Yeah, so this fits real nice. I made a cutout for the thing. And then this piece here is actually a little bit off. So what I need to do is actually cut this back. This needs to get cut back maybe a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch. If I was feeling really randy about it, I would do that. But I'm really, to be honest, I think hot glue will just fill in the difference. And if I put it like this, it's not an issue at all. Wait a minute. Yeah, this needs to be trimmed back here just a little bit. Now, yeah, I could reprint them, but I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to say I don't need the practice, but the printer doesn't need the practice. I need the practice, but the printer doesn't. So, yeah, I think that I take that back. This needs about an 1/8 sanded off of it, and then it would fit in here absolutely exactly the way it's supposed to. That would fit exactly the way it's supposed to then, and then, like I said, just glue it together. There's it's not a high stress part. Yeah, it's gonna experience some vibration from being on a sander. If it breaks, if it breaks, if it fails in some way, shape, or form, yeah, then I'll go back into the file because, the file, I don't want to say the files are forever, but the files will be there, and then I can go in and correct my foibles. And because this actually turned out really well, I could probably, there's no probably about it, I absolutely could print this as one unified piece. I could print this as one unified piece, and that would be the end of it. Well, there you go. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang gets a dust shroud for the first time in 25 years. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe for more content just like this. Boring and droning. Okay, so I actually scrounged through the hoard here, and I found a piece of 1/2-inch drill rod, and it's working perfectly. I still have to put the magnets in it, but it fits. It does exactly what I wanted to do, right? So this is still loose, but I can tighten this up. Oh, there you go. Right, I can turn it on. Doesn't hit, doesn't rub, and like I said, once this is tight, it won't go anywhere. And even if it did, I don't mind. I kind of want it to be like that. Now I did have to modify the design a little bit. By modify, I mean sand it. So I sanded this out here, and I sanded out these here. There's a, you can't see it probably, but there's a bolt right in there that this was hitting on, which I didn't even realize I had. And then this, I ground this out to clear this bearing cover here. So figures. There we go. Just have to loosen it up a little bit. But like I said, this is a working prototype, and if it works, then it's no longer a prototype, but it's not something I'm interested in selling. So you can see there's the vacuum pickup right there. It should work just fine. I did have a print failure. These are desiccant boxes. Whoops. And I had a failure, which I'm actually kind of fairly certain it's because of I think my print settings were wrong. It was set to print PLA silk. I didn't realize that, and I was running generic PLA through it. These came out okay. This one peeled up off the build plate a little bit, but this one came out perfect. Yeah, not for nothing. Every one of these is practice. So I downloaded a different file that'll accept these. You just click it in, apparently. Wow. More fun and adventures in printing with Crazy Uncle Fezzy. So here we are. Everything is pretty much exactly the way I had intended this to work. I neatened everything up, I tightened everything up. Yes, I totally understand that there's sawdust all over this bench right now. So let's just go over what I did, and we'll go from there, right? So I'm going to turn the vacuum on, so it's going to suck. This sander works. What sucks is you instruct the does it suck up 100%? No, none of them do. They never did. I mean, I could put my regular shop vac on this thing and it won't suck every single speck of dust up. They're not Festools, they're Ching tools. So this one comes off, right? And then I'm going to show how to change the belt on this one. This one clicks on the way it's intended to. This one clicks on the way it's is intended to over here. Right, so I eliminated all my blast gates. Yeah, it was. So I eliminated all the blast gates from this side of the shop over here, right? I have one blast gate, obviously it's right here, which I can lock if I need to, easily lock, but I don't need to lock it. I work by myself. And then I have an additional one that I made, which I'm going to show also. That one's not totally done yet. So let's bring the camera around and I'll show one of the things I'm the proudest about on this project. So this was almost by, this was actually not by design, this was almost by accident. You know, some of the greatest designs come by accident. I mentioned earlier in the video how I'm using this as my attachment point. Well, it also works great as a pivot. So when I want to change the belt, right, all I have to do is push that out of the way. I can loosen the belt, off it comes. Trust me, it comes off. And then just plop this back up into place and we're good to go. That was not expected. I'm glad that I was lazy and figured that out. There you go. Now, what's the other cool thing that I did here? Now I'm gonna shaky cam this over here. Now this is why I said I was 85% finished and not 100% finished. One is I still need to make a shroud for this one. I'm gonna have a shroud that comes around the back side of here. If I have to, I'm going to attach, I'm gonna drill holes. I'll drill holes in this bench here to hold it in place, or I could use magnets, but this is cast aluminum. So it's not going to be that easy to put magnets on aluminum, right? So we'll figure that one out. But it does, and I'm going to work on this fence here a little bit too. This fence needs a little bit of work. But this is the high point of the project here, is the drill press vacuum. This piece here looks like crap because for some reason, when I printed the file or when I made this hole decided it didn't want to print. I don't know why. And I didn't print it with infill, so it's kind of skanky around here, but I don't give a shit. This is a prototype piece. But it works great. Don't mind the clamp. Obviously, I didn't put the magnets in it because it's a junk piece. But this goes on here like that. Like I said, the clamp is temporary. Oh, sounds like suck. So yeah, it sucks. It works. This is still loose, so I can rotate it, and it's sucking nice. I have in the printer right now a updated one of these because this one didn't print right, but I know why. This time, you know, ironically enough, I bought a 3D printer to make things fit better, and this doesn't fit. But this doesn't fit because I printed it wrong. This isn't the fault of the print, it's the fault of the, it's not the fault of the printer, it's the fault of the guy who set the print up. And I had to make an adapter from this one to this one. So what I had done was, this is a 70mm tube, and I had two options, or two options. One was a 65 and one was a 70. I initially printed the 65. I stopped printing the 65, but this was the 65 file. So everything is bigger with the bigger clamp, including the connections that go to either or. Now I could have reprinted the connections. I didn't bother. I just, for a couple reasons. One is I need to practice making stuff, so I made an adapter. right? To go from here to here, and then hot glued that on. That's never going anywhere. But it pretty much fully articulates as best as I want. I mean, it doesn't need to be perfect. But yeah, there you go. Now the next one I'm gonna do, for this drill press. Now this drill press is a really screwy size because this is 45 millimeter. So I need to, I already did it actually. I need to reevaluate the clamping mechanism, which I may end up actually putting somewhere up in here somewhere. This drill press I use a lot more than I thought I was going to. Especially, this is one of the rare occasions where I'll have two different tools running exactly at the same time. So I can drill a hole here and in one size, and then I'll drill a hole over here in another size, and then this will have a mag connection on it too, so I can just pop the mag off and start sucking from there. So there you go. Let's see if we can look in the printer real quick. Yep, there it is. Printing away. I designed that in tinkercad, and it's printing. It looks like it's doing exactly what I want. This is the new light I installed. They do an upgrade for this where you put lights on the inside, and I was like, why would I do that when I can just put this light here, right? And there's my AMS, and there's my dryer. I ran a tube over here to a large splitter. This is a 4-way splitter here. So I can run two different lines out of the dryer if I want. Now, ironically enough, if I was to buy another AMS, I have to buy an AMS splitter. I can't use that, but I'm not going to buy another AMS anytime soon. There you go. What's next on the list of stupid shit that I can print, right?